So we were talking about the 42 letter names of Hashem, and I actually recorded, or I'm in the process of recording 7 meditations for each day, which correspond to the Ana Bekoach. So in other words, the first stanza of the Ana Bekoach and its intention, and and Avraham being like that energy, connecting to that. So so God willing, you guys should have that soon. And I think it's like a really I think it's very powerful to start off the day with that alignment, right, of the Ana Bekoach. So the Ana Bekoach is the 42 letter name of Hashem. And what I believe like most of you know, but what many people in the world don't know is like how many names does God really even have? And the answer is infinite because, like we started off learning about the Merkava, that the entire creation is his honor, right? Melochol haaretz kevodo. The entire creation is really God's frequency, the vibrational frequency, which is within creation, which is constantly speaking to us. And it's these letters that are there that tzaddikim are able to see and they're able to make sense of because everything in creation is really letters of Hashem. And when they form together, then they form an identity of whatever it is. If it's a tree, and that spells out Ayin Tzaddik, and if it's a mountain, Har, and but the one that forms that is Hashem. But in terms of God's names that he relates to us, we spoke about this in the class on the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the Tetragrammaton. And Yud Kei Vav Kei is Hashem's name, which is called his essential name, right? It's called Hashem's essential name, which is connected to his highest self, which is the level of crown, of Keter, right? And that expression comes down. The name from the word Sham, which means there, becomes relatable within each world where the Yud Ke Vav Ke, then the God's holy four-letter name of Hashem, becomes known in a lower and lower dimension, right? So when we talk about coming from a higher place to a lower place, it really starts off with singularity, and then it goes into more of complex. It becomes more and more condensed. And there's more and more like letters that hide or that the essence is conspicuous and it needs to be unveiled, which is really right. The name Elohim is really the veil, but But the idea is, the notion is that we start off with the letter Aleph, which is like that point of singularity. And above the letter Aleph, there's the letter Yud, which is the ultimate singularity, right? Why is the letter Yud representative of of singularity of Hashem, of the Creator? It's a question. If anyone could answer that.
Because it's a circle, it's a dot. You can't actually size it up.
Exactly. Very good. Right. The letter Yud is the smallest letter in the Hebrew alphabet, and it represents Chokhmah. It represents divine wisdom, and it's like the channel. A Chokhmah me'ayin timatzeh. That the Chokhmah comes from ayin, from nothingness. And when nothingness comes into somethingness, there's a dot that it like connects, and from there it expands, and from there it elaborates itself, right? So from the highest place it's like a dot, but from the lowest place it's almost like this pyramid, that on the lowest place there's the most amount of condensation, which is actually in the Hebrew alphabet we have the letter Aleph, which is two yuds, right? So really it starts off with the letter yud, the alphabet, right? in a sense. And it ends off with the letter Taf, which is 400. And, the Israelites were supposed to be in Egypt for how many years? 400 years. It represents the most opaque, the most condensed level of creation. So we think that the letter Taf is just another letter, right? Very different than in any other alphabet, where a letter is a sign, it's a symbol for something. But the Hebrew alphabet is energetic frequency that comes down into this world. And the letter Taf represents 400 letter Alephs. That means that the letter Aleph, which is clear in its root, right, from where it comes from, right, it becomes condensed to become the letter Taf, which means that it's been hidden, right, 400 times. So from the highest sphere to the lowest sphere, in terms of revelations, God's name changes, or we could say God doesn't change, right? It says Ani Hashem lo shiniti. Yud Kei Vav Kei doesn't change. It's always a direct line, but in terms of the way that God relates to creation and the work that we're supposed to be doing within each form and each facet of creation is another expression or manifestation of God's name. So let's go a little further, and if we have questions, we'll explore them. We'll definitely explore them. And so in terms of the 4 expressions of God's name, I just want to share my screen over here. So we have the name Ma, which is a permutation of God's name, of the Yud Kei Vav Kei, the Tetragrammaton, right, which is associated with divine wisdom, drawn from above to below energy. And the gematria of Ma, the numerology of Ma, is Adam, is Adam, which Adam, as we spoke about in the 4 names for man, right, represents the highest form of what man, right, or human is supposed to express, which is what? Divinity, being made in the image of God. That's what Adam really represents. He represents divinity down in this world. And so the name Yud Kei Vav Kei, in the permutation that has the letter Aleph in it, right? And I'm showing how that works, is that the letter Aleph is spaced within I should have made this a little bigger. Just, whoop. So you see the letter Yud, and then the Hey, there's the Aleph inserted in there.